Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode number 479, recorded July 11th, 2025. Join me, Dr. Mac Jackson Jr., as we navigate through the digital landscape. Gear up for a thrilling ride, folks, understanding tips, techniques, and things that you can do to protect your family and your business from the fastest growing crimes of the 21st century. To find out more about my company and what you can do, visit my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. In today's episode, we're talking about McDonald's. Yes, folks, McDonald's, the double arches, had a massive data breach of what, you may ask, of their employee hiring files. And there's been thousands of them, folks, with this type of data breach, and we're going to discuss it in our episode today, as well as TikTok. There's a new update to TikTok for the software itself that's supposed to give more privacy, but also there's a rumor of possible US-based company buying TikTok, taking away from the Chinese-owned company. And our third segment, folks, is a very serious one. It has to do with over 16 billion user IDs and email addresses and passwords that were stolen. That's literally 2 email addresses for every human being on earth. That database is out there now in the hands of dark hackers. So definitely stay tuned, folks. This is something we want to discuss in our show today of Cybersecurity Awareness TV. We'll be right back after these messages. Hello, folks. This is Mac Jackson Jr. from Vanderson Cyber Group. The problem with businesses today is that they are affected by cyber attacks from around the world, but companies are not sure of what to do. Normally, they are reactive instead of proactive. But folks, cyber attacks can affect your bottom line, and it will affect you financially, legally, and your business reputation. Here at Vanderson Cyber Group, we can help you develop a policy by training your employees on what to do if they are involved in a cyber attack and how to mitigate it and fight against it. Folks, we call it here #StayCyberWoke. And that's Vanderson Cyber Group here in Las Vegas and around the world. You can reach me, folks, at VandersonCyberGroup.com or my website, MacJacksonJr.com as well. Here locally, 702-868-0808. Give us a call today, folks. We must fight back. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. In our first story, dealing with McDonald's franchises and a data breach having to do with AI-generated applications for employees. Employee information were hacked by these hackers, and the data was stolen off of their HR platform, folks. This can be very troubling, especially of the hundreds of thousands of employees that work for McDonald's around the world. Hackers were able to acquire this information. All this brings a wake-up call for everyone that we must stay cyber resilient and aware of what's going on with our files, what's going on for data. And the best thing to do is to assess what data you have, where it's located, and what information are you tracking of your customers, your employees, and your third-party vendors. For more on this story, definitely check a look at our story coming into us from Cyber News.
Let's begin with a story that feels like a Black Mirror episode, but with even more corporate incompetence than Netflix demonstrated in the last seasons. This time, it involves a McDonald's vulnerability that allegedly leaked personal data from millions of job applicants. Everything started when 2 researchers, Carol and Curry, were looking for news stories to milk for their blog and apparently stumbled upon a few Reddit posts discussing McDonald's hiring process. And it looks like this process is now handled by Olivia, an entity that seems to display the same cognitive range as a baked potato. And upon seeing a shining opportunity, researchers did what they do best, try to breach systems and get some clout. So they willingly applied to Fry, what is claimed to be the corpse of a deceased mammal flesh in a polyester uniform. During the hiring process, they discovered that the McHire administration interface accepted these default credentials, making it extremely easy to get manager privileges and take control over the system. But that did not stop there. Then they discovered an insecure direct object reference on an internal API that allowed them to freely access any contacts and chats. These two flaws combined made it possible to retrieve the personal data of more than 64 million human applicants. To this, the company behind the bot, Paradox.ai, responded in the most PR way possible by publishing a blog post thanking the researchers for their heroic discovery and promising that the issue had been resolved. They also claimed that the majority of the records were not tied to candidates and did not include personal information, something that the humans at Wired sort of, slightly debunked. Oops. We'll see how this all plays out, but given how things are going, I'm just hoping the next breach will finally reveal the ancient mystery of why the ice cream machine is always broken.
Hi folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. In our second segment, we're going to discuss what's going on with TikTok. Well, TikTok's released another security improvement, as they state, improving the information that's being tracked. They're saying that their information is not being tracked, so you should have to worry about it, right? Well, we're going to have to see about that. TikTok just released a new version of their software offering more enhanced features for their users. However, there is a rumor out right now that TikTok may be purchased by a US-based company. Currently, TikTok is owned by a Chinese-based company called ByteDance. And there's been a controversy going on about how information from TikTok is being, the software application on your smart devices gathers personal information and sends it over to China or Chinese affiliate organizations. So if a US-based company owns the software, the hope is that if it's US-based and not foreign-owned, that the data would be safer. Now, the rumor, as I understand it, states that there will be a version of TikTok coming out called M1 or M2, I believe. M1 or M2. And we'll definitely stay tuned to see what type of enhancements this type of software will give their users, and will they be able to have all of the capabilities that they've had from their current version of TikTok. For this story, let's take a look at from our friends over at Cyber News.
Now let's touch on a brief update on Gen Z's favorite cognitive erosion pastime, TikTok. As we've been reporting for what feels like an eternity, the supreme overlord of the land of freedom is still desperately trying to make China sell off TikTok to American hands. And just like a high school student who swears the dog ate their homework, the deadline keeps magically extending itself. And here comes the update. In a Reuters exclusive report, it was revealed that TikTok is now preparing a standalone app for the US, which would operate on a separate algorithm and data system from its global app. This means that the new app would only use US content to train its algorithm, so you can forget about binge-watching those bizarre AI-generated cat videos at 3 a.m. As for the wholesale drama, the current plan is to shove TikTok into a joint venture between an American investor group and ByteDance, which will still hold a minority stake, just like a clingy ex who insists that they're just a friend. I'll keep you updated if this ever goes through. Or, more likely, if we all spontaneously combust waiting for this thing to wrap up.
Hi folks, welcome back. So in our last segment, we're discussing a huge data breach. This is the biggest data breach, folks, in history. Let's check out the numbers. 16 billion, that's right folks, B is in billion, 16 billion email addresses and passwords were stolen from different databases of social media, including Apple, Facebook, Google, GitHub, and Telegram, and amongst others. This information now is available on the darknet. So that tells you that all the passwords you have in your system and with each site that you visit is now being exposed. So everyone must change their passwords immediately, as well as use multi-factor authentication, smartphone and other device, with your system. So this is something you can do, talking about spring cleaning or summer cleaning or getting ready for the summer. Put that on your list while you're changing your passwords. Make sure you change your passwords for all the websites that you visit. But if you're one of my clients and listeners, you know that we talk about using a password manager.
That's right, folks. A password manager. With a password manager, it will encrypt all your passwords and help you change your passwords with all the websites that you visit. So definitely check out a password manager. If you need to find any more information about password managers, go to my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com, and take a look at password manager. But to continue with our story, this is another reason, folks, why we must stay resilient when it comes to cybersecurity with our passwords and stay on top of it. I also have a story I want you to also follow up with this 16 billion data leak and data breach coming to us from Dallas 4 News, Fox.
The door may be open to all of your personal information after what is believed to be the largest data breach in United States history. Good evening, I'm Clarice Tinsley. 16 billion, with a B, 16 billion passwords siphoned from social media sites and other places have been discovered by researchers in a giant database. That discovery bringing with it warnings, and Fox 4's Sean Rabb is live to tell us what we need to know. Sean.
Yeah, and the first thing we need to know and do tonight is to change all of your passwords. That is the best defense against this newest data breach.
It's alarming, and it's good that this is being reported to the public.
Alarming that some 16 billion passwords leaked in a massive data breach and tracked by researchers to one giant database on the dark web and internet. Kevin Hamlin is professor of computer science and executive director of the Cybersecurity Research and Education Institute at UT Dallas.
This is the largest single database of its kind that has been discovered so far. It's so huge that there's an average of 2 credentials in there per human on the planet. So there's a high likelihood that any average person probably has some stolen credentials in there somewhere.
This breach breaks differently because no one specific organization or institution was hacked.
This is a case where cyber researchers scouring the dark web and the internet have come upon huge databases, several of them, that contain credentials that have been stolen from lots of different people, probably in lots of different ways, and then all amassed together in this giant database.
And, says Hamlin, early analysis indicates these are pretty new, so it's not old passwords out there from years ago, it's what you're using right now.
So right now, I think the most important thing is to change passwords if you have a password that you've been using for a long time. Also, try to avoid using same password on multiple accounts. If your organization has an option of using two-factor authentication, you definitely want to turn that on. Two-factor authentication means that if your password is stolen, an attacker can't just use that to break into your account, because any attempt to use it requires some other means of authentication, like it will ping your phone, or you have to log into some other app to just verify that it's you.
Change passwords, use two-factor authentication, and don't click on links and SMS messages showing up on your devices from people or numbers you don't know.
This is an opportunity where we can find out that this information is in the wild, and we need to take action like protecting passwords and changing accounts.
Okay, so I know it's redundant, but change the password. Listen, as we talk about links that show up in SMS messages, if it's not from someone you know, not from a phone number you know, even if it appears to be from some official business or government entity, don't click on that link. And when you set up that new password, one more time, I want to reiterate, use, if you can, that two-factor authentication. Make it more difficult. Put up that wall between you and the bad guys who want to get your information.
All right, Sean, we've got that. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks. Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Dr. Mac Jackson Jr. As a recap this week, we have taken a look at the massive data breach from McDonald's and McDonald's employees, or HR department, folks. Well, the McDonald's employees' information and personal identifiable information exposed on the darknet. We also talked about TikTok and the security features that they're adding to enhance the software, as well as the possibility of a US-based company purchasing TikTok and having it owned, taking it away from ByteDance from China. And thirdly, and which is a major story we talked about, and that's the data breach that had effect of over 16 billion, that's B in billion, folks, personal identifiable information, passwords were stolen. So the moral of the story, folks, we must stay resilient. We must make sure that we change our passwords and stay aware of these things that are going on. And folks, I also like to take this time to talk a little bit more about my upcoming nonprofit. I'm creating a nonprofit organization, and this nonprofit, folks, will help parents, guardians, grandparents, as well as business owners, especially small business, understand cybersecurity awareness, how to combat against cyberbullying, to combat against sextortion, and other data breaches, including phishing and other malware that I like. There's things that you could do. There will be classes offered for families to attend, and you'll be able to attend our lunch and learns. That's right, folks, our famous lunch and learns that we've done over 10 years ago. We're going to start that up again with our nonprofit. We'd like you to be a part of it as well. And also we'll have our Hacking the Human seminars will be also launched coming soon as well. So to find out more about that, folks, definitely sign up for my newsletter. You can find it going to my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. Sign up for my newsletters, folks. Let your friends and family know that there is an upcoming nonprofit being developed. You can make donations, and then from your donations, folks, so that will allow us to offer free courses to the community and get people educated and on top of what's going on in cybersecurity. So until next week, folks, stay resilient. This is Dr. Mac Jackson Jr. We will see you next week.